The Book of Ecclesiastes. This morning our group will be presenting on how Kohelet's discourses are unique on the Old Testament and the socio-economic location of the discourses and the teaching of Kohelet as theological anthropology. First, it is important to know who is Kohelet.
The term Kohelet is a Hebrew name derived from the Book of Ecclesiastes. In its opening verse, the author attributes to Kohelet, identifying him as the son of David, king in Jerusalem. It is often translated into English as teacher or preacher, but the root Hebrew word is kahal, which therefore carries the meaning someone who assembles people. Notably, this Kohelet is believed to be a descendant of King David, which had led to various interpretations and debates about the identity of this figure. Scholars and theologians hold differing views on who Kohelet might have been. Some suggest that Kohelet refers to King Solomon, a prominent biblical figure known for his wisdom. Others propose the possibility that Kohelet could be one of the later kings from the line of David. Kohelet was a thinker who liked to ponder life's big questions, and through Kohelet's discourses, we see that he often sounds pessimistic and even nihilistic because he talks about how everything people do doesn't really matter in the end and how everyone will eventually die.
He is the author of the Book of Ecclesiastes, the Kohelet. And which century was it written?
It is important to note that the Kohelet is different from the author. This author has no interest in giving us his name or biographical details, for he wants to create another identity of the legendary wise king, who, on the basis of what he has seen, can teach wisdom to the reader. We can think of Kohelet as a literary persona who acts like a bold thinker and writes in the author's writing. The author is taking an inspiration from the Kohelet and use the Kohelet's beautiful and sometimes poetic observation to strongly disagree with the usual way of thinking about wisdom in his time. And reading the dates of composition, it can be traced back through the specific use of the language in the book. So, the linguistic evidence points towards the Persian period, more specifically at dates between 450 to 350 BCE.
How is Kohelet discourses unique in the Old Testament?
Kohelet's discourses in the Old Testament offer a unique perspective. What makes them stand out are a few key things: his philosophical tone, his skepticism and keen observations, and his challenges to traditional wisdom. But all of these can be summed up in one word that Kohelet used: Hevel.
What is Hevel?
Kohelet's main message is essentially this: Hevel, Hevel. Everything is Hevel. In most English Bible translations, this is often rendered as meaningless or purposeless. However, the Hebrew word's literal translation is smoke or vapor. Kohelet uses this word about 38 times in the book as a metaphor to describe life in two ways. First, life is like smoke because it's temporary and fleeting, just like a wisp of smoke that quickly disappears. Second, life is an enigma or a paradox, similar to smoke. It may seem solid or promising, but when you try to grasp it, there's nothing substantial to hold on to. Life is filled with beauty and goodness, but just when you're enjoying it, tragedy can strike, and it all seems to vanish. In simpler terms, life is like chasing after the wind, but you can't quite catch it. So, Kohelet's message might sound a bit gloomy, but it's about the unpredictability and fleeting nature of life, using the word Hevel to capture this idea.
Can you tell me about the socio-economic location of the discourses?
This period is approximately during the Persian period, where Israel was experiencing what is sometimes referred to as a dark age in its history. Money and the economy play a significant role in this period. With the commonization of coinage system, this economic context is reflected in Kohelet's statement in Ecclesiastes 5:10, where he discussed the greedy nature of the pursuit of wealth. This suggests that the book audience was deeply concerned with economic matters. The Persian ruler of the time instituted as a system of property grants, which further highlight the divide between the wealthy and the poor. Some were favored with rights over various properties, while others were not allowed to enjoy such grants, as mentioned in Ecclesiastes 6:2. In the broader context of the region, economic texts for the Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Palestine indicate the presence of entrepreneurs eager to invest and grow economically. However, this economic growth primarily benefited the political elite and the most influential entrepreneurs, worsening the wealth gap. Considering the way society worked back then, Kohelel messes about how quickly wealth disappears and the fact that everyone will eventually die becomes even more important. He wants people to remember that when they die, they cannot take their riches with them. This makes them think about how life can be uncertain and unfair, especially when it's come to money and status in their society.
What are the teachings of Kohelet that can be considered as part of theological anthropology?
Kohelet's worldview incorporates three fundamental elements such as relationship with the things, people, and the Creator. The theological anthropology in the Book of Ecclesiastes attributes to Kohelet the teacher touches on the nature of humanity, our relationship with God, and our existential condition, human limitations. Kohelet highlights the fragility and limitations of human being. He portrays humanity as vulnerable to the uncertainties of life, emphasizing that no one can control or predict the future. Mortality. Central to Kohelet's theological anthropology is the acknowledgement of human mortality. He frequently mentions death and underscores its inevitability, reminding readers that all people, regardless of their status or achievement, will face death. Transience. Kohelet explores the fleeting nature of human existence and achievements. He describes that the shortness of life and the transitory nature of worldly pursuits, contrasting them with eternal nature of God. Existential anguish. Kohelet grapples with existential questions such as the meaning and purpose of life. He observes that human endeavors often seem futile and questions why people strive for wealth, wisdom, or pleasure when they cannot ultimately satisfy the soul. Divine sovereignty. Kohelet acknowledges God's role in human existence. He believes that God's actions and purpose are often mysterious and humans should accept their limitation in understanding the divine plan, wisdom, and folly. The teacher discusses the pursuits of wisdom and the recognition that even wisdom has its limitation. He observes that both the wise and the foolish will eventually face the same fate, which adds to the enigma of life. Fear of God. Kohelet emphasized the importance of reverencing God and keeping His commandments. This fear of God is presented as a source of wisdom and guidance in navigating the uncertainties of life.
In summary, Ecclesiastes teaches us that as humans, we all go through a cycle of suffering and hard work from one generation to the next. We are fragile and death is certain for everyone. Life is short and our pursuit can often leave us feeling unfulfilled. But by admiring and obeying God, we can find wisdom and guidance to navigate the ups and downs of life's journey.